Kuzambo, and welcome to this live Dawai Kudroen interview with Professor Yoshiro Imaeda. I'm sure many of you who would have watched another session a few months back, in fact a year ago, with Professor Imaeda in Dzongkha. He is a professor from Japan who actually had so much of love and so much of care for Bhutan, and because of that he came here to Bhutan. He learned Dzongkha, he speaks Dzongkha, and we had an interview, in fact a Dawai Kudroen session with Professor Imaeda in Dzongkha as well. And today, as promised a long time back, I'm again interviewing Professor Imaeda, this time in English. So Professor, thank you so much for your time. It has been quite some time since we last met, so it's always a pleasure to meet you again. Professor, now you're back in Bhutan, and I believe you're teaching Chökyi.
Yes.
So what made you decide to come up with this project?
Yeah, so I'm now a retired person since 2 years. So I have, I'm a free person. So I said to myself, okay, what I should do for the rest of my life. Then I got this idea of teaching Chökyi in Bhutan for the Bhutanese. The main reason that when I published a small book entitled Enchanted by Bhutan, and some of the readers of this book asked me, but you tell only good things about Bhutan, but there must be something that you didn't like in Bhutan. So tell me what you didn't like.
Okay, tell us.
Yeah, no, in fact, not many. I can name only two, okay? All others, really, I have been enchanted, and I still is. It continues, but there are only two things.
Just two, Professor? Yeah. I think you're being so modest.
No, only two things, really, to be honest, really. First thing is Doma, which is Bhutanese favorite. I tried when I first came to Bhutan, everybody chewing, and that is nationally thing. Even you offer domas and everybody, so it is a part of everyday life. I tried once, twice, three. I really couldn't. I really couldn't digest. That was one thing, so I abandoned. But it is just a personal matter. Taste, the question of the taste. That's okay. Second thing was about Chökyi. When I arrived in 81, I came to know many people, many Bhutanese, young officers, or some senior to me, some junior to me. Unanimously, they say Chökyi is difficult. We don't learn. Unanimous, huh? But I said to myself, it's very strange. As a foreigner, as a Japanese, I learned Chökyi, and I have been teaching in other parts of the world, in different universities or academic institutions. All my students, they learn very well Chökyi without any problem. They never say Chökyi is more difficult than Chinese or than French or Sanskrit. It is just one of the languages, for the majority of them, are foreign languages, with a certain amount of effort, of interest, they learn. And while in Bhutan, those new friends of mine, brilliant people who studied abroad, whose command of English is remarkable. Still, English is a foreign language for the Bhutanese. Still, they have mastered so well, and once it comes to the Chökyi, they unanimously say it is difficult. Now, I asked them, have you studied really? No, none. They say, when they say Chökyi is difficult, it's just they think that it is difficult. In fact, they have never learned. They never tried. Okay, this I couldn't, I couldn't digest. To give let's say, illustrate this in this way. Suppose that you are in Bhutan, a group of foreigners who come to Bhutan, and they say, okay, emadati is too hot to digest. If you have a bite, mouth will burn, stomach will burn. So I don't take emadachi. But if they say, without trying emadachi, they say emadachi is hot. You cannot accept, no? Try. After trying, if they say, no, it is too hot, you can accept, no? The same thing for me. Chökyi, all Bhutanese, they say it is difficult. Without trying, then this I couldn't. So that was the second thing. And it continues until now, over 40 years, almost. No, let's say 30 years.
So, Professor, now learning Chökyi would mean learning Dzongkha as well because of the similarity. Would you agree?
A little bit different, but still almost a similar thing. Here in Bhutan, all you are fluent in Dzongkha, spoken Dzongkha. But once it comes to written Dzongkha, writing, reading, again the same problem. You say unanimously say, Dzongkha is difficult. We cannot read. But still the same thing. But I cannot accept that such assessment.
Maybe to reiterate, would you still think that Dzongkha is a difficult language because this is what many Bhutanese people would like to believe or think?
No, I don't think Dzongkha is difficult. No, the plain fact is that in Bhutan the medium of education is in English. Majority of the subjects you learn only in English, and only one or two subjects taught in Dzongkha. And that is the balance, I think. Priority is not given to the written Dzongkha. Spoken Dzongkha, without any problem. Your parents in the society, you learn so well. But written Dzongkha is a matter of education. And in the current education system, priority is not given to the written Dzongkha. That is the main reason why all Bhutanese students say Dzongkha is difficult, because priority is not given. It's a simple fact.
Professor, now coming back to your Chökyi lessons, since when did you start your Chökyi lessons in Bhutan?
Here, this time.
Yeah, this time.
14th October or something like that, about a month ago.
So, your students, who are they?
Majority Bhutanese, girls and boys. One Indian, Bengali, and one, I think, from southern Bhutanese, Hotampa, and there are 3 Japanese girls.
Okay. How are they doing?
They are very good. They are very enthusiastic. They want to learn. This I can feel. So that is a good thing.
So did you manage to convince your students that learning Chökyi is not difficult?
I think so. I think they have not yet abandoned. Because at the beginning there were about 27 or 30. Half dropped, but normal. That is, anywhere in the world is normal. I have the experience. But now about 15 or a little bit more, already 10 classes, 10 times, and they are following me very well. So they never said that it is extremely difficult.
What will be interesting to find out is you're a Japanese professor who worked in France for several years.
Yeah.
Of course, you had your association with Bhutan since 1980s, early 80s.
Yes.
A person from Japan, born in Japan, a Japanese who worked in France, now taking so much of interest in teaching Chökyi in Bhutan.
Yeah.
What prompted you to do this?
The reason is, as I said, as this title says, enchanted by Bhutan. It's just my personal thing, but I really was enchanted, and I was lucky enough to find extraordinary individuals in Bhutan, like my teacher, late teachers, or many other friends and senior.
Who are your late teachers?
Lampemala, who was the director of the National Library, and later.
And you have been advisor to
yes.
National
This is how I came. In fact, it was he, my encounter with Lampemala, who made me come to stay with him and work in Bhutan. But in any way, I personally think that I was fortunate enough to have met these people. And for my personal view, the main reason why those people really attracted me to this extent was their cultural or religious background, which are deeply rooted in Chökyi tradition. Okay. And I personally studied Chökyi, and it really is a sort of a mine, extraordinarily rich mine of information, wisdom or wit or whatever. I think it is one of the richest depository of wisdom. Mm-hmm. And while staying in Bhutan, I noticed that the younger generation losing interest or losing contact with this root. And this, I said to myself, this is such a pity. No? They are losing interest in such a rich source of information, while that attracts even many foreigners, even nowadays, more and more. People's recognition of the importance is really growing. And while you are the, how shall I say, you inherited this, no? From as a national heritage, and still you are losing interest in this. Yes, I personally felt it is a sad thing. And what I wanted to try this time is, while I say, okay, Chökyi is not difficult, but people never listen to me, the only way to show that what I say means Chökyi is not difficult is to have some Bhutanese who learn and who declare that effectively, as Mr. Imaeda says, Chökyi is not so difficult. It's not an impossible language. This is the only aim that I wanted to have, achieve this time.
Professor, let me again be a little more cynical.
Yes.
Now we are in this fast-moving world when people are becoming more and more selfish. They talk about economy,
yes.
They talk about money, and these are things that really affect the lives of modern-day people.
Yes.
And for them, English is the main language.
Yes.
English, in fact, is the language that is internationally spoken.
Yes.
So we are in this stage of the world.
Mm.
Why do we have to learn Chökyi when English is already well spoken in Bhutan? For that matter, even debates are taking place when it comes to Dzongkha. It's just that Dzongkha is our national language. That's why there are some policies put in place and people are trying to promote Dzongkha.
Yes. Well, I think that it is, in a sense, it is a personal issue to a certain extent. It is a national issue. If Bhutanese themselves, okay, they say, okay, Dzongkha, forget about it, Chökyi is of the past. We can manage very well with English, then go ahead. It is a national matter. I have no say to say as a foreigner, but as a foreigner, as an observer or even well-wisher, it's really a pity. Yeah? And even more I can say, I think it is a mistake. What you are nowadays, today, and what you are enjoying is all inherited from the past achievement, and the particularity, uniqueness of the Bhutanese culture, of Bhutanese heritage, is rooted in this literature or in this kind of wisdom. Now, you inherited that. You are lucky enough. But if you say now, okay, we are managing well only with English, let's forget about the past, Dzongkha or Chökyi, then you go ahead, but I'm sure that I'm right, but you are wrong. I think for each and every like individual or people, identity is very important. And that identity, for the Bhutanese, I don't think that you can achieve. You can consolidate with English. Okay. English is important. And Bhutanese, manage very well. Let's say compare with Japanese, they are very poor in learning foreign languages, while Bhutanese are remarkable as far as I see. Okay, so this is a very positive point. But if you think that we can manage only with English, that is a big mistake. And by the time you realize that, it will be too late. Already 3 or 4 decades, even maybe more, have been lost. As far as I see, written Dzongkha is declining. Chökyi, more. Still, you inherited this past. So you are okay, but think that your kids' generation, even further generation, without this identity rooted in Dzongkha or Chökyi tradition, what you will be?
Professor Imaeda, you have all the attributes of a Bhutanese makeup, and we have lots to learn from you. Now, one is that you speak good Dzongkha.
No, not
2,
good, but yeah.
Now you're teaching Chökyi to some of the students here. Given this situation, I'm sure you must be assessing as a linguist. You must be assessing or observing the roadmap of Bhutanese language, Dzongkha. What do you think of the future of Dzongkha? Maybe a prediction?
No, but I should say, Dzongkha is a language like any other, many others. You can learn well, you can write, you can communicate in written form or spoken form. Spoken form, for example, Dzongkha is prospering. I think mainly because of the film industries, for all songs, popular songs, without no government involvement. Even the government cannot stop. The situation is completely different with a written media. Even education system wants to emphasize on the importance of Dzongkha. No, interest is not increasing. Efforts are not made. Students are not so motivated. There is something wrong, I think.
So much of debates on whether history should be taught in Dzongkha or not.
I think
what do you think?
It would be nice, I think. At least, for the time being, Dzongkha is taught only as a language, national language. No other subject at school are taught in Dzongkha. But at least history or geography, national history, it can be taught far better in Dzongkha than in English. I personally think. So in this way, if more emphasis is given and some sort of motivation is given to the students or to the kids, I'm sure that Dzongkha can survive very well as a both written and spoken national language. And this contributes to the creation or consolidation of the national identity. Yeah, language is so important. Language, forms your way of thinking and such. So spoken form is one thing, but written form is very important. When one just speaks, or one composes, or one reads, different types of dimensions. Both dimensions are important.
So it's true that with the different languages that you speak, you also have different line of thoughts.
I think so. Yes, yeah. And I learned much. Learning Chökyi is a very particular language, and it's a long history, and it's extremely rich.
So, Professor, I've been told that you have initiated this project, teaching Chökyi here in Bhutan on your own. It's a personal initiative.
Yes.
You are not getting any financial assistance from anyone in
better
Bhutan.
To be independent.
So you are doing it independently.
Yes.
You pay for everything that is to do with the teaching here, and also you stay here in Bhutan as is is all taken care by yourself, own self.
Yes.
But what sort of collaboration do you enjoy with the Dzongkha Language, Dzongkha Development Commission?
No, with no such official, what the department or official framework, no. My pleasure and what I earn is the enthusiasm of the students, When you see students who come on their own for such thing, well, they will never get any certificate or never know job opportunities, that those individuals, 15, or boys and girls, their motivation, and that is really satisfying as a person, I can share what I know with those who want to learn. That is a thing that most precious for me.
Is it going to be a one-time project, or are you going to continue in future as well?
This time I started just a trial. If the reactions is good, and if there are more demands, I'm sure that I would like to continue. As long as I can come and stay, it's a pleasure for me.
So you'd still want to continue?
I think so, yeah. I would like to.
You are born in Japan, you live in France,
Yes.
and now you're in Bhutan. So these are the three destinations that you're particularly talking about. Now that you have retired
Yes.
officially from your
Yeah.
work, what is your plan now?
Most probably, I think I will quit France. It doesn't mean that I don't like France, no, but to have three places like that is rather difficult. So first I will quit France, most probably. And as my wife is in Japan, so I will stay some time. But I'd like to come to spend time in Bhutan, with which I have such long acquaintance or affinities. Yeah.
Maybe one final question. I think I've already asked this, but to make it even more clear, when you teach Chökyi,
Yes.
how will it help Dzongkha? Because all I know is that there are some similarities between the two languages.
Yes, yeah. They are very close. Yeah. Once you learn Chökyi, you can learn very well Dzongkha, and learning Chökyi never harms Dzongkha. Opposite way also the same. If you learn Dzongkha well, that will help.
So they complement each other well.
Yes. There's nothing against each other.
So no conflict within the two languages?
Not at all. I don't think so.
So maybe by taking more and more classes of Chökyi here in Bhutan, you might be able to encourage people to learn Dzongkha as well.
This is just a very tiny scale, on an individual scale. But if there is something happens, I will be most happy. But I wish, as just almost a prayer, that on the national scale, such interest comes from the Bhutanese people themselves, and so that they consolidate, even for the future generations, this unique identity. Yeah.
Professor Imaeda, I think your messages were very loud and clear, and all my viewers who will be watching this program right now would have had their conscience, reminding themselves that they need to do something about the language.
Yes.
But I'll give you this final opportunity, because I don't get to talk to you often.
Yes.
So maybe a final opportunity for Professor to convey a message to Bhutanese regarding Dzongkha or Chökyi.
No, I have been, as I said, enchanted, and I hope even in the future, say that a century or 50 years later, Bhutanese will have this charm which will enchant even foreigners because of your unique identity. That is a wish. As I have been fortunate enough to encounter such a charming people which has a deep root in the Chökyi tradition, I hope that this continues and Bhutan will have some appeal from this point of view. Yeah.
Professor Yoshiro Imaeda, Thank you so much for your time.
It's
And
my
in fact,
pleasure.
thank you so much for all your kind words
No,
for Bhutan.
but it was my pleasure. I really tell you. Yes.
Thank you. With this, we come to the end of our interview with Professor Yoshiro Imaeda. I think more than anything else, we definitely would like to take some lessons from whatever Professor Imaeda has to say. He has some wonderful words and also some strong messages sent out to all Bhutanese that Dzongkha is a language that is not as difficult as we Bhutanese think and believe. So anything is possible. On this note, we'd like to end our program. Thank you so much for watching.